Hey everybody, welcome back. This is my February wrap up. I'm filming it the Saturday before the end of February, so I have one day technically, but I'm not going to finish a book. So I read 10 books this month, which is good because I'm back on track. I was reading an average of 10 books a month anyway, but we're back on track, although not all of them were great. So there's that. I have a couple nonfiction, a couple translated works, and then a couple short stories. Like, I was in a reading slump, and I find sometimes picking up a short story will help take care of that. So I also apologize if you hear the dog snoring, but we're both tired and we're in the bedroom. And I didn't feel like moving, so you're just gonna have to listen to him. The first book I'm going to talk about is a short story collection in the Edgar Allan Poe complete collection I have. But I read the Cask of, how do I say this? Amontillado. It's a wine, I think. Basically, it's a short story, and what it is it's a revenge story, and it is definitely one of the best I've ever read. And it was only like 2 or 3 pages long. It's not long at all, but it's just enough to be good. It is so good. I love this book. Basically, the narrator is the one that's taking revenge on the person that has wronged him in some way, and they don't make it very clear at first. And the punishment he gets for this was pretty crazy. It was pretty dark, especially. Like, I don't know when exactly it was written, but it was written quite a few years ago. Anyway, I give it a 5-star. I really liked it. Probably one of the best things I've read. So I'd give it a shot, especially as an introductory to Poe, because you can kind of see how dark he gets for the time that he wrote them, which is always a good thing. I like really dark stuff from that time, so I was for it. I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely a great revenge story if you're into that. The first book I read in February, though, was The Escape Room by Megan Goldin. This is her debut book, I believe, but I don't know the year it came out. Basically, what this is it's a thriller about a couple people in an elevator who get stuck there, and they're supposed to play the escape room game. Like, you can go to an escape room, but this is in an elevator at an office. And it just kind of unfolds from there, and you start, like, finding out about these people, and it's very much one of those, like, where everybody turns on each other kind of books. Oh my god. It surprised me because I'd only heard about her most recent book, The Night Swim, which got some, like, credit, but I saw this one on sale, so I grabbed it and read the first book first. So, wow. It says a lot about corporate. I work in corporate, and some of these feel like some of the things that are said feel very believable and very real, and then others are kind of like, okay, it's a little far-fetched. And then this totally feels like a better, faster paced version of Gone Girl in a way. So that's all I'm going to say about it, because I don't want to give it away, but definitely worth the read. I gave it a 4-star. So I liked it, and I'm looking forward to reading The Night Swim next. I've had this book for years, and I never picked it up. And I didn't like it, and that disappointed me. The Vegetarian by Kang. This is originally Korean? Yes, this is Korean originally. This is translated by Deborah Smith, who apparently does a lot of Hong Kong stuff, and Hong Kong is very popular. I just didn't like this book. It was just too weird for me, but I will say, this cover, oh my god, it's so beautiful. I won't get rid of this book simply because of how stunning this cover is, and I don't believe they print this edition anymore. So, like, it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cover. I can't get enough of the cover. However, this is basically about a woman who she doesn't want to eat meat anymore after very vivid slaughter dreams she's had, and from when this book was written. I don't know how true this is, or if this is just something to the storyline. In Korea, that's just not a thing. Like, it's kind of weird to not eat meat. So her whole family starts turning on her, and her behavior just gets progressively weirder. It was it was weird. I definitely classify it as weird fiction. A lot of people love this book. It just wasn't for me. And I don't know if it's just because of how weird it got. I don't know. Give it 1 star, I think. Yeah. I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. It didn't hit the place. Maybe weird fiction isn't for me, even though I thought it was, because I normally like weird stuff, but I don't know. I'd like to know if someone else read this and has a different opinion, but I just couldn't do it. It wasn't my favorite. This is also a short story. It was written in 1819, and I actually heard about it in the, like, Stephen King writes forwards in his books. So in one of his books, he dedicated it to this author and this story. So I had to read it because Stephen King still says it's like his favorite book ever. Like, and the scariest thing he read, The Great God Pan by Arthur Machen. This did get under my skin. What did I give it? Give it a 3 star. For being written in 1819, the language isn't difficult to understand. It's not written like some classics. More odd horror than straight up scary horror, but there's there's like a surgery scene. Basically the premise is this guy goes to witness this scientist say that he can make people see the god Pan, and it's just, there's a surgery scene, and I cannot do needles, and I know I have tattoos, it's not the same as a hypodermic. I can't do needles, I can't hear about surgeries, and just this like opening surgery that sets off the rest of this book, and how like it just gets progressively darker and stranger and disturbing, and not disturbing, maybe like unsettled is the best word. It's very unsettling, and it's pretty graphic considering, I mean, talking about the way it talks about sex and stuff. It was very graphic for the time. I just was getting like queasy reading about it, and I had to stop instantly. Like, I had to put it down and then kind of push through, because it is a short story. But I definitely think fans of Stephen King should give this a chance anyway, and or if you like really like unsettling horror, it kind of gives me like the witch vibes, like A24's Witch. I forget who directs it, but it gives me those kind of vibes. It's really good book. But 3 stars, it just wasn't my favorite, but definitely have to give it credit for how sick it made me feel. I read a teen book this month, which actually is darker than I expected. I read The Female Species by Mindy McGinnis. This is a revenge book. I don't read a lot of teen, but I don't know why this is a teen book. I don't know if it's because the main character is a teenager, but that doesn't make sense. It's quite graphic, actually, and it's kind of, I mean, the end got unbelievable. Like, I just really, like, by the end I was checking out, but how it talks about, how it talks about like sex, and is very like mature, which, I mean, like, let's be real, teenagers aren't like all that innocent. It's just that I don't know if I would necessarily like. I almost think that I would skip teens and have a teenager read adult stuff, because it's most adult stuff I've read isn't as graphic, and even the subject matter this deals with, dealing with rape and sexual assault. The way it was written was very, I don't know, it was just like graphic, and I've read like adult thrillers that aren't as explicit and graphic, so I don't know if this is actually like appropriate for teenagers. I sound old as fuck, but like I don't know. I liked it. I gave it a 3-star. I didn't hate it, and I was with the character right up to the end. Like, it's just the end just got unbelievable, which just didn't do it for me. But it is a good revenge book, and it does say a lot about boys will be boys, and like rape culture, and how we kind of handle it, how the justice system handles it or doesn't handle it always, for lack of a better word. So I do like the message behind this book, and I did like the book, and it was very dark for a teen book, so it was good. It was good. Give it a shot. It's short. It's not big. I got an audiobook from the library for this one. Death in Venice by Thomas Mann. This was originally written in German, so it is translated, and it is narrated by a wonderful British man, and I forget his name, who narrated it. But he just had like the best soothing voice. It was great, and he did like some of the characters with like a different voice, so he definitely acted the audiobook well. Basically, this is like, it's a novella about a guy who becomes obsessed from afar with this young man as he's on vacation in Venice, and it's very unsettling how he describes things. It wasn't for me. What did I give it? I gave it a 3-star. I didn't love the story. Like, it was interesting, I guess. Wasn't the best thing I read. But what I will say is the prose and the writing of Thomas Mann is unbelievably stunning. Like, it was so beautiful to listen to his words, even though it is such a dark subject matter. It was just so stunning. So I want to check out more of his stuff. If you're kind of into like reading from the point of view of like a stalker, I would definitely recommend this, but they aren't usually my types of stories, so that's maybe why I didn't think it was that fantastic. And then there's also like some other odd stuff happening in the background. It is good, but like I said, I think the story just wasn't for me, but the prose and the writing was. So do with that what you will. My nonfiction read for the month was The Last Leonardo by Ben Lewis, The Secret Lives of the World's Most Expensive Painting. This book was so interesting to me, and I love art. Like, I love art. And this, I tabbed so much of it because I was so interested in it. And this painting is kind of still in the news. It's about the Salvator Mundi, Da Vinci's lost painting that went for, what did it go for? $450 million. And it's been like lost ever since. But people were questioning the provenance or like the history of ownership of the painting for so long, and they don't actually believe that Da Vinci painted it. It's this painting here. It's in the book. Gained quite a bit of attention a couple years ago. I gave this 2-star? 3-star. I love the topic because I love art, and I remember when this news broke about the painting being discovered and going up for auction, and then how much it was getting, and then there were experts that were coming out saying that it wasn't actually painted by Da Vinci. Then the people that found it were saying yes it was, but they couldn't prove the provenance very well. And it is a crazy mystery. Like, it's a crazy art mystery, and the painting hasn't been seen since. And the extensive, like, it was found in such horrible condition that oh my god, the restoration that happened, I couldn't remember that word, the restoration that happened was so in depth that it was, it just, like, it almost, everything that was the original was gone. So this is still in the news. It's a very interesting book, and he does make an excellent case, and I do agree with the author, and I do doubt the provenance, and I do doubt that this is a Da Vinci painting, but this could have been edited way better. The ending, like, when you get to the middle of the book, it just goes on and on and on and on and on, and it's like, fuck, like, this took me pretty much the whole month to read this book. So I give it a 3-star. If you like art and art history, I definitely would recommend it because it is so interesting, and he's obviously very well researched in this, and does make an excellent case. So 3-star. I also got another audiobook from the library, and it deeply disturbed me. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. Harlan Ellison. Author's name will be here anyway. This is a classic sci-fi, I believe, and it got under my skin really bad, and it really disturbed me. It disturbed me so much, I can't even rate this book. I can't even give you a rating. It's basically like this AI computer has taken over what's left of the earth. There's only 4 humans left, and the AI is now like the creator and God, if you will, and he just torments these last people. And it's just hearing about, like, the torture and, like, how bleak this story is. It was just so much, and it was so unsettling, and it was so frightening to me. I just really got under my skin. I actually can't even rate it because I don't entirely know how I feel about it. All I know is, like, since I read it or listened to it, whatever, I have not stopped thinking about it. And it unsettled me so much. I can't even describe it any further. It was just so disturbing. So I have no rating for this, but I would be super curious to see if anybody else has read this. Wow. Just crazy. It was just insane. No other way to put it. And finally, I finished translating these poems. The poems, literally. So it's 2 poetry books that Till Lindemann did, the lead singer of Rammstein. And I marked off quite a few, but because this is in German, I had to hand translate it. Although I do believe the one you can get in English. It's just you have to, like, order it from Europe. They're not published here. So the first collection is called Messer, and then the other collection is In Stillen Nächten. They were good. I really enjoyed it. It took me, I started February 2nd, and I finished the other day. I marked off ones that are my favorite. There are some that are dark. There are some that are, like, romantic. There are some that talk about very, like, getting older, and there's some that are really funny. Like, there's a poem in here, and it sounds like he's writing to, like, a woman in bed, but it's his pillow, and it's like a love letter to his pillow. It's, like, relatable. And then there's, my favorites would probably be the ones he wrote to his daughter, and one of my poems I translated is falling out there. He wrote to his daughter, and they're so good, and it's very sweet, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I have his other collection now that I'm going to try to push through for March, but as far as helping me learn German, it's been excellent, and it definitely I'm faster at translating reading versus being conversational. Um, but yeah, they're very like I love the big photo too. They're very they're very lyrical, obviously, because he writes the songs, and I just enjoyed them so much. And I like that there's no real theme to any of them. They're just poems. And I noticed like some of the other collections I have of like different poetry. There's like I have one that's just about like heartbreak, for example, and every single poem is that. And then there's a collection called Memories, and every single poem is like romantic. Like I find a lot of them have like a theme kind of to it, and this one didn't, which I like because it switched it up. So I'm a fan of poetry. Some people don't like it. Um, I think I have 3 or 4 collections now by different authors, and I definitely want to do more. Uh, but I gave this a 5 star because I have to. Because I can't not. I love Till so much, and I love how he writes, and I think he's so brilliant and artistic. So, of course, I'm gonna find his poems completely brilliant and artistic as well. And that was it. Yeah, that was it. So I'm back on a pretty good streak. I have quite a few books I have want to read. Oh my god, my leg's asleep. I have quite a few books I want to read for March, um, and I definitely have some like really cool recommendation videos coming soon. So I'm gonna do a lot more recommendation videos, but every month I'm gonna do my wrap up of what I read and give you some reviews on varying books that way. So without further ado, I don't have an exit. Bye.